We are officially over halfway through the year, so it's the perfect time to touch back in with your vision board and let's assess how we can either refocus and re-get back on track, but also have some accountability for the goals that we set out for 2024. Because none of us want to get to the end of the year and look back and think, well, that was a lovely bunch of photos that I just had in front of me. The way that vision boards are going to work is if you take the aligned action based on the things that you want to achieve, and you did not spend time making your vision board in, let's say, December, January, for it just to sit, look pretty, and then go in the bin, or for you not to actually make any of this a reality. You've put everything on your vision board because it's something that you either want to become, you want to have, you want to experience, you want to overcome, or you want to be and embody. You do not want to do yourself the disservice of another year passing by and you looking at your vision board thinking, well, those were some nice photos that didn't actually then have any meaning, or it didn't actually drive any action. So we're gonna have an accountability session. I'm gonna review my vision board quickly in front of you guys just to remain accountable and show you guys how I use it, how I reflect, and I'm also gonna give you some top tips, and we're gonna have a bit of a check-in as well to get back on track for the last 5.5, 6 months of 2024 to make sure that you can walk into 2025 chasing that Prosecco on New Year, feeling so proud of the woman that you've become and of everything that you have achieved and obtained over the years. So if you haven't already, grab yourself a brew, grab yourself a drink, get your vision boards out, and we're gonna have a little check-in. So I'm gonna dive into my accountability, and then we're gonna dive into some really powerful prompts and also some tips on how to get back on track if maybe you've fallen off, because let's face it, guys, life gets in the way, things happen. Sometimes things can throw curveballs, it can knock us off our game, things can happen and our life can move in slightly different directions. But if there are still a lot of things on your vision board that you're aligned to, we owe ourselves and our vision board the respect that it deserves. When we spend all this time making it and really feeling into the life that we desire, we owe it to ourselves to take the action necessary to get us there. So I want you to grab your vision boards if you haven't already, and we're going to dive into mine and just what's been going on for me in 2024 so far. Oh, hopefully you guys can see the overall vibe of the vision board. So I'm going to start in this corner here, which is more like self-care and just pouring back into myself. Now, one thing you might be able to see is some ticks. So I do check things off when I achieve them, if you can see. And because I make my vision board on a frame, it has this like plastic cover on the front. I just get a whiteboard pen and tick off things when I've achieved them. There's some things that, because it's more of a habit that I want to embody for the year, I won't tick off until the end of the year, because I want to make sure, especially for things like healthier habits and discipline, that that is something I embody for the whole 12 months rather than just 6 months of the year. So if we start here, it's a lot more of like the self-care vibes and just pouring back into myself, which is something really important for this year. And I feel like, especially for the second half of the year, and it will make more sense in a second, I'm going to have a lot more time to pour back into myself. So that's something that's been a real focus. Also got here, which I've ticked off, travel and vlogging, which is something I've really tried to remain on it with, and just providing that good content, because not only is it good vlog content, but it's also memories for me when I'm traveling. I also have New York, Miami, Dubai and Bali planned for the rest of the year, so stay tuned for those vlogs because I am going to be vlogging those. And then down here I've got fly business class as well. This is something I really want to do, but I've not ticked off yet. But some things that I have ticked off down here are guest speaking. So I was actually booked as a guest speaker for a retreat in Morocco. I've also been a co-coach as well for somebody's mastermind. So I'm definitely getting recognized in the industry for what I can deliver, and I'm getting booked and paid for those things as well, which is amazing. And also I've ticked off Dubai because I held my first ever Dubai retreat and my first ever retreat for the Breakthrough Society as well. I then actually went on to run another one in Greece and co-coached on one in Marrakesh. So I feel like I have definitely ticked off the retreat one. I also have some spaces left for my Dubai retreat in October as well, if you want to secure a space. I'll leave the information down below. It is for business women or women in business, so check it out. And then just coming from the middle, so there's some things that I have ticked off but are actually not in alignment anymore, and I'm going to explain why. So there's some specific images of an apartment block. Now when I sold my property in March, I told myself I was going to rent, and maybe rent abroad, or I did have specific apartments in mind in Manchester, which were these ones. I did visit them, I did get shown around, and I just didn't get the feeling that I thought I would. Now these are very expensive, they're very highly priced, and I just felt like I didn't get the vibe that I would hope for the amount of money that I would be forking out. And as somebody that took herself off the property ladder too, I didn't then want to make ridiculous decisions and have, I'm not joking, it would have been 3,000 plus a month outgoings for somewhere that, again, I didn't feel the way that I thought I would. Now my friend has moved into one of them anyway, so I do get to visit it a lot and I get to get the vibe, but don't have to commit to living there. So this is probably one that maybe isn't as in alignment for me, but I visited, I had a look around, I booked the appointment, I got the feel for it, and I just realized I don't think it's for me. But one thing that I did tick off, which I don't think you can see, maybe you can see now here, is an apartment. So you can see there's a picture here that I put on of some keys, and this is where sometimes life works in different ways, because I've actually, little bit of a life update, but I've actually bought an apartment which I should be moving into in the next few weeks, which is really exciting. And I think this is why, again, I'm just really proud that I didn't jump into something just because I thought it's what I want, because now I've been able to reinvest my money, put myself back on the property ladder with an apartment that I absolutely love. And that's something that I didn't expect to tick off, but that actually was that goal that I've ticked off this year. So I'm really excited for that. And of course I'm going to vlog it and show you guys move-in vlogs, all that good stuff. In terms of other things that were on here as well, there's a lot of quotes here. Never be afraid to try something new, because life gets boring when you stay within the limits of what you already know, which I love. Also, my brand will touch 1 million. We're not quite there yet, guys, but it's urging me to keep going. You know, I feel like if you shoot for the stars, is it that you land on the moon? Like if you aim for the stars, the worst that will happen is you might land on the moon, but you're going to get a lot closer than you would have if you didn't try. I've also got Forbes on here as well. Now this is more like PR in general, and just being able to get my brand, my business in front of more publishers, and is it publishers? Like more exposure, more visibility, and just some more credibility as well for the breakthrough. So that is something on my list. There was also some PR here, which I've definitely stepped back into some type of influencing, but I've realized, especially on Instagram, I don't think it's what I want to do. I think TikTok and YouTube maybe, but this is something that, again, I've had to kind of realign and reassess on that one. Also got like love and relationships down here, because that is what I'm manifesting, a healthy, happy love, which hasn't happened yet, but that's okay. That's okay, we're still in our solitude single girl era, but that's okay. Another really quick one as well, and this is something that when I just looked at my vision board, I was like, this takes 5 minutes to do, which is get an Amex. It's something that I really want to do, especially as somebody that travels and she wants to fly business class. It just makes sense to get an Amex, but I've just not ever made that a priority. And then there's also a car here with cream interior, because I just really want one with cream interior. There's just something about a cream interior car, but it's definitely not a priority right now. Could happen, we will see. And then I've also got here 100 members in the Breakthrough Society membership, which we're getting a lot closer to, but I've not quite achieved it yet. So need to knuckle down and get cracking on those. But that's a kind of update of my vision board, and I would really encourage you guys to be constantly asking yourself if it's a priority for you, and also if it's still in alignment, because even as I went through this, you can see there's some things on the vision board where I'm kind of like, I thought it would be, but actually it looked very different, or actually I'm not sure that's still a priority. And you can amend it, you can re-edit it, you could even do a specific vision board for each season and have one for like autumn winter now, which is a bit more specific, and you can pull things off this. But I think it's so important to just assess where you've made the progress, where you've had the achievements, where you have pushed yourself, and also be really honest with yourself as well about where have I made the least progress. Is there a goal on there or something where you feel like you've neglected it, you've not embodied it? Maybe it's self-care or healthier lifestyle, where you do really need to knuckle down and create the action plan. And this is why assessing is so important first, because if you can spot that some things are really important for you to achieve this year, we need to make that a priority for the next 6 months and look at, okay, how's this going to fit into my calendar? How am I going to prioritize this? Do I need to book in a class or a consultation for something if there's a specific thing I want to sign up for? Do I need to actually launch the business or focus on my visibility if business growth is a goal for me? And I think it's really important to then draw out what the priorities are for the second half of the year to make sure that you can fully show up for your goals and make sure that every single day you are taking that aligned action. Because one thing I've found with a lot of girlies in my membership and my mastermind, when we've done a half-2 reset, a lot of girls have realized that they've actually just been really busy, burning themselves out, but not actually making any steps closer to achieving their vision board. And this is typically what we see when people lose track of their priorities and they forget what they really, really want to achieve. We end up being busy, saying yes to so many things, diluting our energy into so many different buckets, but not actually taking action on the specific things. So even if you set something like a reminder on your phone to constantly ask yourself, or it pops up every day just saying, what would the version of myself that achieves these goals be doing today? And it's a really good journal prompt as well. I often ask myself, the girl that's going to live this life, what would she be doing right now? How would she be dressing? How would she be showing up? How would she spend her time? How would her morning routine look as the girl who lives this life? Because clearly I spent a lot of time finding the images, getting in touch with exactly what I wanted to achieve to make this. So I need to make sure that I'm embodying those habits and exactly what this kind of girly would be doing to achieve these as well. So I think that's a really, really powerful journal prompt just to ensure that you are on track. Some people have reminders on their phone that say things like, what would the highest version of myself be doing? And again, this is your higher version of yourself. And I heard something on TikTok the other day, and it's a really important reminder because some of us can make vision boards and then I feel like we forget that we can actually make that a reality and it can actually be our life. And something was said on TikTok and it said you wouldn't have thought it was possible, you wouldn't have even entertained that if you didn't know that it was already possible for you. And there was someone else that said something like, the only reason these are on your vision board is because the future you already has them. So it's just down to you now to bridge that gap between the current you, the future you, and making sure that you show up every single day to help you actually achieve these goals. Now, once you've assessed whether these are still in alignment and what your priorities are for the next 6 months, it's time to refocus. And if you need to get your calendar up, this is something else that you can do as well. You can get your calendar up and just look at the next 6 months of any key events that are coming up. So whether it's weddings, birthdays, key events, business events, milestones, holidays, block that time out and then look at the time that you have left to really, really dedicate to your goals as well. Because honestly, I live by the fact that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you do not manage your time properly and you do not give your goals enough time that they need, we're just expecting it to come out of thin air. And I'm a big believer in manifestation, but I'm also a big believer that you do have to put in the work. You have to actively embody the person that you want to become. You have to embody the actions. You have to embody, again, the types of things that that person will be doing. So I would really look at your calendar and assess, okay, how much time can I realistically dedicate to these goals? And also, when am I going to do it? Is it a case that you block it out of your calendar and you block out time to work out, you block out work blocks to get your filming done, if maybe content creation is something that's really important to you, whether it's self-care, how are we going to do that? Is it booking in your beauty appointments? Is it having a weekly massage? Is it having a really powerful evening routine where you have no phone, you read, you do your skincare, you light some candles and you have a nice wind down? Is it a powerful morning routine? Is it, let's say that you have an apartment or you want to buy a property? What are we actively doing to save for that? Are we booking the viewings? Are we having a look on Rightmove? Are we making the right decisions to help us actually get closer to that goal as well? And I think it's so important to make time for it, because one thing that I've found, especially with everyone that I've done a half-2 reset with, and if you want to do a big reflection and you want to catch up on my half-2 reset, you can join the membership down below. It's only £33 a month. You can cancel at any time, and the moment that you join, you'll get access to all all of the masterclasses that we've done, but we've just recently done a Have To reset. There are 3 live calls a month as well that you can join. So these were live calls that are now recorded, and we just really dived in and reflected on where we spent the most time, where we want to spend more time, the things that we've achieved over the past 6 months, and also, again, when we look at our goals, we look at our time, we look at where we want to invest our time. This was something that we really reflected on as well, because I think a lot of us can just get really busy, get really distracted, really sidetracked, and then we look at this and we think, ooh, I haven't actually made the progress. And this is often what I say to people, is like putting yourself on the treadmill. So you're burning yourself out, you're exhausting yourself, you're doing all of these things, but you're not actually getting any closer. You're stuck on a treadmill. And this is again where I want us to take ourselves off that and really refocus and make sure that we are in alignment, we know what our priorities are, we actually block out that time and give our goals the time and the respect that they deserve, and we actually show up for them as well, because that's going to be the difference of this being a pretty vision board and this actually becoming something that's in reality. And you actually then have the pictures to even put over the front of the apartment, of the trips that you've done, of the 100 members in the Facebook group, etc. In the members lounge, sorry. So yeah, I would say assess is number 1, priorities, aligned action. So where can I take the aligned action? How can I embody that? And also give your goals somewhere in your calendar. Make sure that you're making it a priority as well. And there might be some things that you need to book in, some phone calls that you need to make, but I would really look at the next even 30, 60 and 90 days. And this is something that I find so beneficial, to look at the next month, 2 months and 3 months and look at, okay, this right now cannot be my priority, but it's something that I want to get done by the end of the year. So I'm not going to focus on it for the next 30 days, but I'm going to book in an appointment for 35 days time, so in the next month, and that's going to be something that I focus on in the next 60 days, because I think a lot of us try and do, be, have, achieve everything all at once, and that's often where we maybe don't make the biggest progress, because we're just exhausting ourselves trying to be and do everything. So I'd really manage that as effectively as you can. I would also say remove the distractions. Now, I did a video on this on TikTok because I feel like there's so many different like self-development YouTubers and channels, and there's so many amazing content that you can absorb, but I think a lot of us can get really distracted in that. So we know that we need to show up and actually implement these things and take the action, but we might then watch 10 TikToks that inspire us and 10 YouTube videos. I want you to remove that distraction and not watch anything else until you've implemented it. So if you are doing loads of trainings, you are watching loads of self-development stuff, make sure that you're actually embodying it and actioning the things that you need to before you just absorb more content. Because a lot of the girlies that especially are coming into the breakthrough world at the moment are so overloaded with information, and there's so many amazing things that they've heard, they want to implement, they want to have this big morning routine, but they don't implement it because they're so overloaded with different ideas, with so much information. And this is what I typically call information hoarding, which is that we end up wasting a lot of time reading all these books and diving into all of this amazing stuff, but then we don't give ourselves the time to action it. And trust me, action takers are money makers. Action takers are money makers. You need to actually take the action of all these things that you're learning, and with that comes the discipline side of things, of saying, okay, now I actually need to just make some progress. Now I actually need to take the action and not just listen to somebody else that's done it or get distracted in everybody else and what they're achieving. Focus on exactly where you need to go and blinker. Eliminate the distractions. And this is again why having your calendar up is going to really help you, because you can see, okay, I know this birthday is coming up, I know this wedding is coming up, I know that this holiday is coming up, and you can really see in your calendar, okay, where can I say yes to things, and where do I maybe need to just sacrifice a little bit, claw back some time, and really knuckle down on my business or my goals or the things that I want to achieve. If financials is something really important to you and financial freedom is really important, but then we're saying yes to all of these plans that are going to put us back in that situation, we have to again assess what the priority is and then make those decisions accordingly. So this is again where eliminating the distractions is going to really help you just streamline and actually achieve your goals. With that being said, I really want you to remind yourself that these are not here. Your vision board was not created because you didn't believe it was possible or you didn't actually desire that for yourself. It really is now about taking it into your hands, making it manageable, making it achievable, eliminating the distractions as well, because that is honestly the one cause that I see that gets in the way. Life gets in the way, friends get in the way. Again, this is not me saying cut off friends or don't have social plans, but just assess. The more disciplined that you can be and the better you are at being able to spot your priorities and assess and act accordingly, the better you're going to have and the more balance you're going to have in life as well, because a lot of the people that seem to come into the breakthrough world are exhausting themselves working all day, all night, but they're not actually getting anything done that's productive because, again, the priorities are not there and they feel really guilty. Whereas when you have real clear boundaries, discipline, clear goals, clear things that you want to achieve, if you really focus the time that you do have on this, you're going to feel so much less guilty when you then do go and have the social plans, because in the back of your mind you're not thinking, ooh, I should really be doing this. Or if you could have just got the work done, let's say, and just smashed it out in an hour, got it complete, and then enjoyed your evening, I think a lot of us try and do everything all at once as well, which causes us to procrastinate. So when we are then watching a film later on in the evening, part of us is still tapping away on the laptop because we feel guilty, or we're scrolling, or we just feel like we should be doing something else, especially the business girlies. So this is your reminder, there is still way more than enough time to hit your goals. We have 5.5 months as I'm recording this video to knuckle down. So I want you to assess the vision board. I want you to really prioritize that time and just dedicate it to yourself. The worst that's going to happen if you dedicate the next 5.5 months to your goals is that you're going to achieve them, or you're going to get a damn sight closer than you would if you just took no action at all. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll catch you in the next one.